Welcome back. In our first episode, we explored how fear and desire trap the human mind in an endless cycle of reacting to life rather than living it. Today, we ask a deeper question. How does fear become permanent? How does one moment of uncertainty become an identity that lasts a lifetime? The answer lies in belief. Every civilization, every religion, every political movement, every family, every individual is ultimately held together by stories. Some stories liberate us, others imprison us. The challenge is knowing the difference. The human mind dislikes uncertainty. It would rather accept an incomplete answer than remain with an unanswered question. Belief offers certainty. Reality rarely does. This is why people cling to conclusions, long before they possess understanding. The moment the mind says, "I know," learning quietly ends. Curiosity becomes defense. Observation becomes judgment. Every new experience is forced to fit inside an old conclusion. One of humanity's greatest mistakes is confusing belief with understanding. Belief is borrowed. Understanding is earned. Belief can be inherited. Understanding cannot. You can inherit a religion. You cannot inherit awakening. You can inherit an ideology. You cannot inherit wisdom. Someone else may have touched something profound, but the moment their experience becomes your belief, something essential is lost. Experience is alive. Belief is memory. The danger is not believing. The danger is never examining what you believe. Now something remarkable happens. Repeated beliefs become identity. You stop saying, "I believe this." You begin saying, "This is who I am." Everything changes. Disagreement becomes attack. Questions become dangerous. Evidence becomes threatening. Because the mind is no longer protecting an idea, it is protecting itself. Identity is belief that is forgotten. It was ever a belief. Every identity carries a hidden cost. Every time we create an us, we quietly create a them. Nationality, politics, religion, race, profession, status. Identity itself isn't the problem. Communities matter, cultures matter, shared purpose matters. But awareness must always come before identity. Otherwise, identity becomes superiority. Superiority becomes division. Division becomes conflict. History has repeated this lesson again and again. Once identity forms, the brain begins filtering reality. It searches for evidence supporting itself. It ignores evidence challenging itself. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. But human beings have been living this way for thousands of years. Two intelligent people can witness the same event and leave believing opposite truths. Reality didn't change. Identity selected different pieces of it. Perhaps we never see reality exactly as it is. Perhaps we see reality through ourselves. One of the rarest qualities today is the courage to say, "I don't know." Not knowing offers no tribe, no applause, no certainty, yet every discovery begins there. Science begins there. Philosophy begins there. Wisdom begins there. Imagine meeting another human being before asking, "Where are you from? What do you believe? Which side are you on?" Instead asking, "Who are you?" before the labels. Freedom isn't becoming nobody. Freedom is realizing you are larger than every identity you carry. Perhaps belief isn't the enemy. Identity isn't the enemy. Fear isn't even the enemy. Unconscious identification is, because whatever you identify with begins thinking for you. Now we'll ask an even stranger question. If beliefs become identity, where are those identities actually stored? And why do they continue repeating themselves long after we've forgotten how they began? Imagine your body as hardware, your nervous system, your brain, your senses, but your beliefs, your habits, your fears, your desires are software. Most people think they are making choices. More often than not, their programming is choosing for them. Every repeated thought writes code. Every repeated emotion writes code. Every inherited belief writes code. Eventually, the software becomes invisible. You simply call it my personality, my beliefs, my life. Perhaps the program became so familiar, you forgot it was ever installed. Ancient traditions gave this momentum a name: karma. Not punishment, not reward, momentum. Every action, every intention, every thought moves consciousness in a direction. Some impressions disappear quickly, others remain, growing deeper, becoming tendencies to fear, to desire, to judge, to repeat. Imagine a warehouse, not of sins, not of rewards, but unfinished momentum, waiting until awareness is ready. Individuals accumulate momentum. So do civilizations, families, cultures, entire societies. Fear becomes belief. Belief becomes identity. Identity becomes institutions. Eventually, people inherit software they never wrote. The constraints of one generation become the normality of the next. A society obsessed with accumulation doesn't only accumulate wealth, it accumulates psychological momentum. The warehouse grows, the mind becomes heavier. Here's the paradox: nothing beyond the physical can be discovered through physical accumulation. The world teaches us to become more successful, more recognized, more powerful. Rarely does it teach us to become still. Yet stillness is where awareness begins. Without that inward shift, human suffering simply becomes more sophisticated. Better technology, same mind, larger cities, same fear, greater wealth, same emptiness. The software never changed, only the hardware improved. Real transformation asks for sacrifice, not guilt, not self-denial, but surrender. The willingness, to stop feeding the smallest version of yourself. When action is free from attachment, identity loosens. Compassion stops being morality. It becomes intelligence. Discipline becomes freedom. Listening becomes strength. Even ordinary life, though, becomes sacred. Your programming will continue offering reactions: fear, pleasure, money, power, approval. They never disappear. But awareness creates space between stimulus and response. Inside that space, choice appears, not because the world changed, because you did. Every second, life quietly reminds us that everything physical will disappear. Most people respond by collecting more. Perhaps the invitation has always been different. Not to collect, but to dissolve. Not to become someone new, but to remember what existed before the software was ever written. Because beneath every belief, beneath every fear, beneath every identity, there is awareness, unconditioned, undivided, whole. Perhaps that is what you've been searching for all along. Next time, we'll explore perhaps the greatest illusion humanity has ever created: money, not only as economics, but as consciousness.